touching on the top prop bets in the NBA today. All right, so I want to start this video with the G League up next game. It's going to be the G League's version of the All-Star game, and it's kind of exciting. So they did a draft between Luka Garza and then also Scoot Henderson. Those were the two captains. So I can only assume the players that they drafted, like in order, are going to be the starters. I've been looking. I haven't seen anything confirmed for who the starters are. And so here's just the graphic of it, okay? And this isn't in any order either. So it went for Team Luka. It went Lee as the first pick. Then it went Frank Jackson, then Queen, then Charles Bassey, then Mac, then Cooper. Okay, so my biggest takeaways from that are that like someone like Charles Bassey, who was the 4th overall pick, maybe starting, maybe not. And obviously we want to be chasing starters because more likely than not, they're going to be the players getting the final minutes, but we have no idea. I mean, it is a G League game. It's not as official. It's more of a showcase game. And so the player that I like the most would be Bassey. Just looking at his average on the G League, he averages about 22 points per game. And that's about 10th most on the G League. So to me, that's pretty intriguing. He's someone that really does play well on the Spurs, in NBA games as well. I was kind of hoping we get some fantasy points because I felt like that would have been kind of easy, but that's probably why we're not getting it. If we look at the two captains as well, Garza really dominated in the Show Cup games, had 29.8 points on average in those games. He is someone that, he kind of mentioned during the All-Star draft or the next up draft that he didn't say he was worried about scoring, but he kind of said something in passing like, oh, I'm a bigger guy. I don't have to score as much pretty much. And that's why he drafted someone like Mac, who really has kind of stole All-Star weekend. So, he's someone that we could potentially go with. The issue with him is he only averages about 19 points. So that's pretty small. And then Scoot, he really did not do well in the Rising Stars games. Okay. So that's kind of a little bit of a worry. And if you look at his Show Cup games, he only averaged about 20 points per game in that. So that feels a little bit too high for him. Obviously the captain probably could go off. The next best play to me would be Kenneth Lofton Jr. He was the 2nd overall pick for Scoot, and Lofton averages about 20.6 point on the G League. So he's a guy that can definitely go on and score. And so that's pretty intriguing to me. And I'm kind of wondering, will the starters be determined by the top 10 in votes? We don't really know. Like if it was, then that's already telling us that Lofton is going to play a lot. That would tell us that Bass is going to play a lot. But based off of the draft results, that's kind of what I'm assuming as well. From there, like Cooper here is the 2nd leading scorer on the G League or in the G League. And he's a 2-time player of the week in the G League as well. So he's definitely someone that can go out and get a bucket. Now, what's interesting to me is that Jones here, who is the G League leading scorer, was one of the last players pick. And so just kind of interesting there, but don't know exactly what minutes he's going to get. Mobley is someone that can go out and score as well. Mobley averages about 21.7 points. And so the biggest question that we're going to have is the minutes. Like players right here. I don't think we need to play this guy or King. Okay. If we look at his average, it's about 10.5 per game. And sure, this is an all-star game. I'm sure the defense isn't going to be too crazy, but at the same time, we want to be chasing players that can go out and get points. So I don't like the fact that like he barely is projected above his average points scored. And the same thing with King. He doesn't score that many points as well. His season total or his highest for the season is 15 points. Okay, so that worries me. But I do think there's the potential for an edge here. Like, if it's going to be a normal all-star type game where it's not going to be that big of defense, like these all seem low if these are going to be the players that are going to get the minutes. Now, we're not seeing a lot of the players that are going to get minutes. I want to mention that. Like, there's 24 players playing today, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have 13 players here. Okay, so there's about 11 that are missing. But I will say, like, Charles Bassey, probably one of my favorite ones. Kenneth Lofton as well. The issue with these two, they're big guys. And so, obviously they're not going to be as ball dominant. They're not going to have as much usage. So like Cooper makes sense, but that's a high point total, right? That does worry me. I mean, Garza, the captain, should be able to go out and produce some points. I would think so as well. And then Mac I like, and Mobley I like. Like those to me feel the safest. And this is a situation I saw someone in the comments say, hey, I bet on the dunk contest all over points in the first round. I'm like, that was kind of a smart move, because the reason why I like betting on golf a lot of times is kind of the fact that you're more or less betting on how the course is going to play. And so that's kind of what they did with the dunk contest yesterday. I'm like, that was smart, because you're kind of more or less betting on how the judges were going to be judging, strict or not strict. And so you could kind of do that with the G League game tonight as well, I feel, where you're more or less betting on the game being a high scoring game, being a game in which doesn't have that many points scored. And so once again, guys, I want to make this very clear. If we are betting on anything this All-Star weekend, we are betting it for fun. We are not betting it to make a profit. The profit bets were yesterday, and man, talking about the NHL bets yesterday, that makes me frustrated. 3 out of the 5 hit, which was good. Obviously a profitable day, 60% hit. That's good. Robertson and Burns had like 3 missed shots on goal, and they ended up a half away from their over that they needed to hit. Very close. And like the golf bets all hit. It was so close to being like a massive day, or even just an extremely good day if one of those 2 hit. You know, we'll take it 60%, but oh, so close. But those are the bets that we chase because we got favorable odds with them. Where this, it's like we're doing it for fun. Like I am interested in this game. So like I kind of just want to play a little bit. And so that's what we're going to be doing. So it'd be Bassey, Lofton over points, I think would be the 2 safest. Okay. And then from there, it does feel like we're guessing, but you know, we're doing that for fun. And so now we're looking at the All-Star game. Now we don't have a big player pool here. The biggest question that I have, and so looking at it, like if you wanted to do like points, rebounds, and assists, you could. We can see Jaws kind of projected to get 6.5, and Mitchell is projected to get 4.5. So if you want to do this, you could. That's going to be up for you guys. But once again, I kind of like these 2 because, well, it's a low point total. And if they are going to go out and try to really play, showcase themselves, then those are the 2 favorite bets that we're getting on this board. Okay, I just want to make that clear on this board. Luka, if he goes for the All-Star MVP, that's a low point total as well. Just throwing it out there. Let's get into some NHL bets here. So really the best one that we're going to get right now as it sits is going to be Thomas over 2.5 shots on goal. Collectively across the sportsbooks, this number is set at -135, and then for the over, and then plus 125 for the under. So we can see it's kind of heavily favored for him to get over here. You know, plus 125 is really good for the under, and then -135, we'll take that for the over to hit. And so I just want to call this out, guys. Like before you ever make one of these NHL bets that we're just chasing based off of the numbers that we're getting, just make sure to confirm that you can look on FanDuel. I like to use DraftKings Sportsbook. Just make sure the number is still there that we're trying to chase. So we can see Thomas still favored -135 to get the over. And then this is going to be an okay one here. And the reason I don't love it is literally this. The last 5 games he's been able to get over, you know, kind of, I don't want to say easily because it's been 3 shots on goal in which he's been able to get over. And that's probably why the under is being favored, just given the fact that recently he's gotten over it and it's been close. So the under is set at -135 across the board and plus 110 for the over to hit. So a favorable bet that we're getting, but we can kind of see why, one, it's one that I hesitate to really go off of, but also we can see why we're not getting like an elite number across the board. And then the next best one that we're going to get is going to be Mark under 2.5 shots on goal. Now, once again, this is not the best one. We're getting about -131 across the board. So not a perfect one, but it is a number that was sticking out to me. So if you are looking for a prop to potentially be a push, say you feel like you have a really good bet that you think is like strongly going to hit, okay? And you just want another bet that, you know, might get the over, but probably won't hurt you because obviously PrizePicks does pay out a push. We got Eric at -175 to get over 1.5 shots on goal. And so we can see recently he's been able to get that over as well. So like definitely a bet that's far from a lock and load, but it is one in which you're playing it to get a push. And maybe he gets over that as well. Some lines have the over 1.5 shots a goal at -190. So, you know, once again, this would be a bet that you make to try to chase a push. Now, typically speaking, I don't like to do that because I just want bets that are either going to hit or not hit. Another one that's kind of decent would be Josh Morrissey over 2.5 shots on goal, collectively set at -135. The under is set at +105, so like an okay bet that we're getting there as well. So once again, today my strategy for kind of the PGA would be looking at these golfers that have earlier tee times and trying to chase the under greens in regulation, because the greens have been playing much harder because the temperature is lower in the morning right now. So the greens are harder, thus balls are rolling off the greens a little bit more. Looking at it, like yesterday, we were getting better numbers. Like JT was one that hit yesterday, and it was 11.5. Okay. Xander was 11.5. Tony Finau was 11.5. So like, we don't have that many that are elite. Like Tom Kim, I believe, was 11.5. So like the ones that I really liked yesterday are not really there, and they're kind of priced down. So the biggest issue that I'm having, and I need to pull up Tiger because this has risen to 10. I just need to look at the stats for that. So Tiger's GER percent is kind of low, but let's look at it round by round. He had 12 last round, 8, and then 12. So probably not one that we want to chase too much. But honestly, I don't mind going back to like JT under greens and regulation, Xander under greens and regulation, Tony under greens and regulation. And then that's probably it. Like Rory does have an earlier tee time, I should say. And so I wouldn't mind that one as well. But none of these are locks. They keep moving the number down because it's played harder than expected. So yesterday, like all the green ones hit, and fortunately, I know the video came out a little bit later, so not many people were able to benefit from that. So that's something you can do as well. So like today, guys, like I don't want to give a specific like today's bet. Like I want to, like when I give those, I want those to be, all right, these are ones that I'm very confident in are going to hit. Both like the projection and the lines are in our favor. Okay. And with it being All-Star weekend and with us not getting that many free squares with PGA, which I obviously know pretty well, and NHL, in which we're chasing like really good lines, we're not really getting that today. Okay. So I just want to make that clear. Like if you are choosing to bet on that, it'd be kind of forcing it, it seems like. But for like greens and regulation, I'd probably do under for JT, just really struggling to hit greens today or this week as an earlier tee time, and then probably Tony as well, and then possibly Xander as well, who just continues to struggle. So those would be like the under greens that I do. And so once again for the G League, I probably would be doing Charles Bassey over points and then Lofton. And like the thing with this is like you're betting on the game being a high scoring game, and you're chasing like the two players that most likely should get a decent amount of playing time based off of how the draft results went. And so like the best bet we're going to get today would be on paper right now would be Thomas over 2.5 shots on goal. Once again, that's minus 135 across the board for the over and plus 125 for the under. But that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys have a good day. I really want NBA back full time so that we can find the biggest edges both in projections and lines. I kind of miss it. We have until Thursday, so I'm going to continue to try to find edges, whether it be in college basketball, NHL, golf, possibly tennis. You know, we'll see. Really up until then, unless we get like locks like we had yesterday, or really strong bets, I should say. I never like to use the lock word. It's going to continue to be one in which we are scaling back our bankroll, our entries. Okay, but thanks for watching, guys. Let's have a good slate, and as always, let's keep cashing.